I believe in angels, and I believe in you. I believe in the simple things and everything you do. I believe in the heavens above, and I believe in truth. I believe in the love we have, because I believe in you. So tell me, do you feel the way that I feel? Then tell me, would you give what I'm willing to give? I believe in honesty, and I believe it's true, and I believe if you set it free, it will come back to you. And I believe that things were meant to really be, and I believe in the love we have, because I believe in you.
Welcome, everybody, to UCY.TV for Cancer Kickers. This is Vince Easley. Be adding in Cynthia Brooks in a moment, and her guest, Howard Wendell. And he's had some experience, and he's going to share some of his knowledge about cannabis, hemp oil, THC, and CBDs. I'm sorry. And here comes Cynthia. And hey, how are you? Good to have you, Cynthia.
Yes.
All right. So I'll tell you what. You go ahead and work on getting your guest in. You can mute your in, and just come on back when you get Howard in. And I'll fill in for you just a minute.
Okay, super. I'm going to try to get Howard on the phone right now.
Great. Okay, I'd like to remind everybody this program is not meant to provide medical advice or professional diagnostics, opinion, treatment, or services to you or any other individual. This show provides stories and general information for educational purposes only. This information provided on this show is not a substitute for medical or professional care, and you should not use the information in place of visit, call, or consultation to your health care provider. Excuse me. The radio network is not liable nor responsible for any advice, course of treatment, or any other information you may obtain through the show, and this show is offered for educational purposes only. With that being said, the discussion tonight will be on THC and CBDs, and I'll read just a little bit on that while we're waiting on Cynthia and her guests. Now, in 1964, the key component, THC, was isolated from an extract of cannabis sativa plant. THC.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, how are you? Okay, we got Howard.
I'm doing good. How are you?
Awesome. Howard,
good. I think I have Wendell here. Howard Wendell.
Yes.
Can you hear us, Howard?
Yes, ma'am. I sure can.
Okay. Hey,
brilliant,
let me finish.
Brilliant.
Hey, great. Let me finish this little bit of intro here on THC and stuff, and then I'll hand it over to y'all. Y'all be speaking in live time, and so we've got a little lag here. And as soon as I finish, I'll mute up and hand it over to you.
Okay.
Great. So I'll start again. In 1964, right on, brother. The key compound of THC was isolated from an extract of a cannabis sativa plant. THC is a compound in cannabis that causes euphoria and other medical effects. The fellow did also isolated cannabidiol and some other stuff, so other compounds in there. Let me not tear them up. That were slightly different, yet closely related to the mother compound THC. Many of these compounds do not cause euphoria. They don't get you high, but have other physiological effects, particularly medicinal. So with that, I hand it over to you all, and welcome to UCY.TV, Howard.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that introduction.
Hello, Vincent. I'm getting a lot of weird feedback. Can you hear me okay, Howard?
Yeah, Cynthia, I can hear you just fine. I think the feedback in what you just heard was me trying to put another piece of equipment together so I could be a little more audible, but I canceled it, so don't worry. It's gone.
I don't think it was you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. We love to call this formerly known as I Cure Cancer. Now it's Cancer Kickers. I'm your host, Cynthia Brooks. Thank you all for hanging in there. We had techno problems again, but we're punching through it. I have to put out right now just a gigantic thank you to Vincent, one of our producers. We had this trouble about an hour and a half before the show, and he really came through for me and really pulled it together and figured out this other way to get a whole other way to get on air, which is why you're hearing us now. So you were just listening to Vincent, and he is just a spectacular being. I'm so blessed to have him in my life, and thank you so much again, Vincent, for helping. So I know you read the disclaimer. We've been told we have to, read that little disclaimer that we are not, diagnosing anyone. This is all pure information. And for the new listeners, again, my name is Cynthia Brooks, and briefly, you can read more about it if you like on Facebook, or I'm on YouTube, all that stuff. My cancer story. I was diagnosed, we're going on 18 years now. 18 years ago, in 1996, I was diagnosed with terminal cancer and 2 years to live, possibly. If I didn't get, chemo radiation surgery, I always like to underline I got many, many opinions, and all of my doctors were the top oncologists supposedly in the country and the world, all lined up there, right there on, in Beverly Hills on Beverly Drive. And all of them agreed that I needed, to be chopped to bits and fried with chemo and radiation. But there was no guarantee I was going to even, live through that. And when I said, well, what if I don't do all of that, just do nothing, do holistic, they said, you won't last 2 years. So I rejected all Western medicine, did a tremendous amount of research, got in my car because there wasn't very much internet back in those days, and not much alternative medicine was on there anyway, and I didn't have a computer. So hit the road and assembled a team of microscopists and physicists and spiritualists, which the whole process is mind, body, and spirit. A whole team of these people, and set out on this journey to cure myself purely with alternative means. And in short, about 8 months later, I was 100% cell recovery, 100% cancer-free, and I've been cancer-free ever since. So you can imagine, because a lot of people know I was an actor and all that stuff, and I was on Days of Our Lives and the whole 9 yards. And but as you can, I always wanted to be an actor, but as you can imagine, that really threw my life path on a loop. So I decided to start spending a great part of my time helping others and assisting others treating themselves of not just cancer, but all diseases with alternative means. Since then, I've got an army, and I'm adding one more right now today to my army of alternative medicine scientists, doctors, et cetera, so that, the people that come to us, and my dear friend Ian Jacqueline, what happened was when I was curing myself of cancer, we were in a play together, and when I got my test results back, which they had to send back to the pathology 3 times because they thought they had the wrong patient. They couldn't believe the cell recovery and how quickly it came about. And so when I got that call that day, we had a performance that evening, and I was telling my other dear friend, and I just kind of whispered it to her, but Ian eavesdropped and was a completely different person, didn't believe any of this. He thought it was all snake oil, mumbo-jumbo, the whole 9 yards, and challenged me. Nobody can cure themselves of cancer. He tells the story much funnier than I do. But anyway, his life journey did a 180 as well, because even though he didn't believe me, he wanted to know what I did, and good for him, he followed me to just about every physicist and every spiritualist I was working with, even started taking meditation classes, and he's a world champion kickboxer, from Canada. He's a tough old boy. He doesn't like none of that spiritual stuff that, those guys call it, and here he is in meditation class. And so over the years, he really just did more research, and created iCureCancer.com, an incredible website. He's one of the kings of alternative medicine now. And so that's how, for anyone who had the confusion, that's our connection there. Excuse me. So actually, so that's the story. And just want to put a word out. Sometimes we have little tech problems and calls get dropped to the listeners. Thank you, all of you who hang in there and just keep listening. Also, sometimes we get knocked off air from an outside party. Some believe that there's people out there who don't want everyone to know that they do not have to spend tens of thousands on chemotherapy. In fact, they can cure themselves quicker and easier, with alternative medicine. We have those boundaries to jump as well. So, the name of the game for this show is just hang in there with us, and we get back online when we can, as fast as we can. But like I said, I know we have a lot of new listeners, so I just wanted you guys all to know that. So now, it is through Ian Jacklin that I've met this next incredible, brilliant man. I'm so honored to have him on the show. And he is such an expert. His name is Howard Wendell in the CBD and cannabis oil. Now, I just want to say I didn't even know what that was. I did not use any of that 17 years ago when I was curing myself. Ian was the one that educated me about that. I knew nothing about the healing properties of cannabis oil. I had heard things here and there, and one of my kinesiologists actually gave me hemp heart for a strong source of protein to put on my salads or to put on anything that I like, because, as you can imagine, the diet that I was on was incredibly strict. And back then, Ian and I laughed because there was no such thing as an alkaline diet back then. I was on a very much stricter diet, actually, than even Dr. Bernardo's. When I was reading Dr. Bernardo's, who's one of the leading doctors in alternative medicine and curing cancer, I was like, wow, my diet was a lot stricter than that. I could not eat any kind of meat whatsoever.
It's important that you keep your pH down, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, you got to keep it balanced, actually. You want to keep your pH balance hanging out around 7.1, 7.2, and the belief is that cancer absolutely cannot survive. There are some extremely, extremely rare blood cancers that will survive in a high alkaline, like a 9.2. That's extremely rare. I wouldn't worry about that. But, yeah, the guideline is, it's impossible for cancer to survive in a 7.2 alkaline environment. So once you get your, alkaline levels there, cancer is not your problem. And I'd like to put out there, be very suspicious, because if you're doing your tongue swipes and, and your PP6, and don't get them mixed up like I did, that's my joke.
Oh, my God.
So the thought is that if your swipes are coming back at 7.2 and you're still getting a diagnosis from your doctor that there's cancer, you may be misdiagnosed. I am running across more and more misdiagnoses of cancer and especially AIDS. Now, folks, I'm still getting educated on this too. I'm learning as I go along, but like massive misdiagnoses and a lot of bell ringing about, all of the deliberate misdiagnosis for the money for chemo, and I didn't know that chemo. I only found out we had another Professor Peskin on, and he gave us the numbers about how much chemotherapy, how profitable. I had no idea for, the hospitals and profitable. And there's also another one because we had, as people come to us and have challenges, sometimes we're going to have to learn as we go along. And a couple of years ago, a very dear friend had very severe heart problems, was told he needed open heart surgery yesterday, all of these things. And that's when I stumbled upon a documentary that exploits all of the open heart surgeries that aren't needed. They're just doing it for the money. And just so you know, I put him on, and others helped him with a protocol, and his heart went back to being 100% healthy. He did, with just for the heart patients, one of the big problems, just so you know, is you need the right chiropractor, kinesiologist. So many of the heart problems are just because the heart needs an adjustment. And I know that seems weird because people who don't go to chiropractors, they think it's just about cracking bones. It's not. It's balancing all.
That is. My son goes to one, and I know you're right on.
Absolutely. I actually had to have my heart adjusted. It's so interesting because it's very sort of dear and philosophical in a sense, but I had to, because I do a lot of physical comedy on stage, and all these pratfalls and whatnot, which is my favorite, but I got really out of, alignment, and I actually did have my heart readjusted, and it's really an incredible sensation. So anyway, I want to get to our guest. Thank you so much, Howard, for being on the show. Absolutely. I wonder now if you want to start, or if you don't, but if you want to start.
The thing about it is, I was thinking about this and rolling these thoughts about what it used to be for me. And I think the majority of the audience out there that's listening in that wants to know about CBD and the real facts about what it does and why it works and how it works is really the nuts and bolts that people want to know.
Super.
And so giving them that information, it is relatively simple. Your CBD oil, which is extracted primarily from your hemp plant, which is a non-psychoactive producing plant. In other words, cannabis, being the parent plant, has two sisters, which is marijuana and hemp. They're complete opposites from one another.
Interesting.
Your CBD oil, Cynthia, comes from your hemp fiber in your hemp plant. THC is, of course, grown from your cannabis sativa and indica. Surprisingly enough, there's a third species. It's called the rhodellus. And the rhodellus is nothing more than a plant that was raised in Russia that's on a pre-auto flower, and that pre-flowers for you automatically. And not commonly is known as the other two.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So now there's that makes all the sense in the world. I always thought hemp came from the marijuana plant. It's not a hemp plant.
You know that the word marijuana, the erroneous name marijuana, was given the name of it used to be called the Mexican tobacco years ago. The United States government named this plant marijuana.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Didn't know that either.
Mm-hmm.
And one more time now, that third plant, and how does it grow in Russia? I thought those plants used to grow in warm environments.
Yeah, well, it originated in Russia. It's the rhodellus, and it is a plant that basically refers to an auto-flowering plant. And it was originally brought up in funny, it was in Russia, yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And so now this is like another sister to the hemp, the marijuana, and the cannabis?
Correct, yeah. It's just another one of the cannabis families, yeah.
All right.
There are substrates, each one of the two, the indica and the sativa. But for most of it, we'll be talking about the hemp plant, and that relates to your CBD oil producer. CBD is produced by hemp. THC is produced by marijuana. Total opposites.
Now, the marijuana plant does not produce CBDs, is that right?
Be corrected and stand corrected. It does produce, but it's in very, very, very low volume.
Yes.
As opposed to the THC, which is beneficial for those who use the THC application. The CBD plant, on the other end, produces no THC, all CBD. So when I refer to them being opposite, that means one plant refers to the other in a different way, and they're totally opposites. In fact, I think the law says that it's got to be 0.3-something%. If it's any higher than that, well, then it's considered to have THC, and pure hemp doesn't contain that. Right.
I understood. So now these people who are, because I've been hearing, and I have a huge, as you know, as I told you, I have a huge audience and myself who just can't tolerate THC, and I have... Sure. Yeah, one of my dear friends who's going to be on this show, her name's Norma, she's in the process right now of writing a book about CBDs because she uses it. She's got a tremendous amount of body pain, and what she was first using was, and a lot, like she has to walk with help, with the cane or something, because her legs, the whole pathology of her legs and getting dizzy, and sometimes she feels quite wobbly, and then sometimes she can walk on her own. But when she was prescribed the cannabis oil, this was with a low THC, but still, she said, I can't take it during the day. I'm too dizzy and wobbly.
Let me ask you a question. When you tell me that you took a low dose of THC, was that dose in which she was administered was it? In other words, was she given it the right dosage at the right time? The THC is very much present in the marijuana plant, even more higher than in 2 or 3% sometimes. In fact, there's plants right now in the cannabis, in the marijuana business that produces a 14% CBD plant. And it's across between a couple of them.
Yeah, I don't know those details. It would be great fun to have you and her on the show over this. That
well, the CBD, people want to know, well, why does it work?
Right. Now, before you start, I have a question. Now, cannabis oil does have CBDs in it, yes?
Yes.
Okay. But we're talking about hemp oil. Is that
correct.
Right?
That is correct.
Okay, just wanted to be clear. Okay, and so because I know that I've learned we create our own cannabinoids in our bodies, and they diminish over time. Correct. So, yes, let's get over to the CBDs. Do we produce our own CBDs or not?
Absolutely do not. That is the problem. That's the paradox about the whole thing. We have in our human body 210 human cells. Those human cells, of course, incorporate trillions of blood cells. Here's the reason CBD works. The reason that CBD works is because each of those blood cells in your body, the trillions that you have, all are fully functionable, have CBD receptors. And those CBD receptors don't have any other way to get any kind of a CBD inside of them unless it's ingested. And they're screaming out for that CBD oil. And that's why a lot of this epilepsy and a lot of those things, when the children are administered high doses of CBD, the epilepsy is gone because what's happening is that CBD doesn't cure the cancer, but it has been shown to inhibit the growth of cancer cells.
Right.
Okay? And that's why it's so important. It's ingested far better than smoking it. Anyone that's smoking it, listen up. It's not the best way to take a CBD application. Application therapeutically has been shown to be more beneficial for the human body when you take it, ingest it extra generously. In other words, you just ingest it. That's what you should do.
So you just take it, like on a piece of bread, or you?
Well, I do. That's exactly what I do. In the morning, I put my CBD medication along with my RSO oil and a piece of bread, toast, and I consume it. Yes, absolutely.
Awesome.
I also reduce the leaves. That's the full benefit of this, yes.
There you go. So my friend, she's not ingesting it as she is doing it with a vapor thing. So
there's lots of people that do.
Yeah, she's inhaling it. I see. And so I have not heard yet that the CBDs was helping children with seizures. I thought that was the THC that was.
Oh no, that's a CBD medication that's been on CNN in reference to Charlotte's Web. They're trying to produce a high-quality plant in the medical marijuana field to produce a high CBD content that overcomes epilepsy. And they, of course, are accomplishing that. If you watch the CNN TV program that was recently out, where they were doing some testing on different types of patients. But the fact of the matter is that because we don't have the CBD in us and we can ingest it, it goes to work in all those blood cells, and personally, as a personal commitment, it's worked for me wonderfully. And I'm 65, and I feel just fantastic.
And tell us, you were telling me about you had a little something on your nose, and what'd you do?
Well, I had a wart. I was going to go to a dermatologist, and he was going to take it and remove it for me, and I was waiting for my turn to get in to see him, and during the interim of waiting, I put some CBD oil on it that I'd gotten a very high concentrate of it, over 16%. I put it on my nose, and 4 days later, the wart fell off. And there was a little bit of a tad on my skin, and now it's completely gone, and we can't see it.
Wow.
That's a personal testimony.
Yes, yeah, I love that. And I would imagine because when they just go to cut it off, they don't get the roots of all kinds of different
They try to freeze it up, I think, or something along those lines. It's been the first time I'd ever have it done.
Right.
But now I don't need to see them at all.
No, you don't?
No, I sure don't.
So also tell us, you feel that it inhibits the cancer, but it doesn't cure it?
No, it doesn't. It's been shown to inhibit the growth of cancer cells. On the other hand, the thing that most of your listeners don't really like too much, and that's the THC. And believe me when I say that, they're not. There's a lot of people that don't really favor the THC, and then there's a lot of people that do. So it's a big question on myself. But really and truly, if you're taking CBD oil in the oil that like we're taking with the extreme low THC, you really won't feel it. The benefits of THC though is that study has shown that it cures cancer, that it cures it through the process where they surround the cell and kill it.
Yes.
There's a technical term for it. It's called apoptosis. I can't pronounce it.
I'm not even going to try.
Yeah, I'm not even going to try either. But it's something that happens when the surrounding of the cell's done and it's killed.
Right.
So hand in hand, CBD and THC work together.
Yes. Well, specifically if you have cancer, but if you don't like THC and you have other things like, topical problems.
Great for autoimmune diseases, I'll tell you that.
Yes, tell us about thank you.
Well, I have several people in my group, one with multiple sclerosis. I have several other ones with chronic back pains and looking to go to get fusion. I won't mention any names, but people that I've seen offer the CBD and the accomplishments that's come forth from administering them in small doses as we've done. And these are all medical patients that have been already authorized by a medical practitioner to be able to receive CBD. It's not like we're going out and doing this just because we believe in it. It's all medically handled through medical practitioners. And the administering is all done through them as well. And what we've done is we've seen people that shake violently with multiple sclerosis.
Yes.
That can't hold a cup of coffee because they're shaking so hard that they're burning themselves because they're trying. Giving them CBD medication over a period of 6 days and then watching the difference materialize right in front of you, where the man now picks up the cup of coffee and walks across the room, sits down, and enjoys it like you and I do.
Unbelievable.
That is unbelievable, and believe me, it brings chills in my body just to think about what it is that this powerful stuff does.
Right.
So it's a blessing.
Would you say that MS is caused by a lack of the CBDs in the body?
I think the MS is caused because its own cells fight against each other, and this is the way the autoimmune diseases work. And by consuming the CBDs and quieting those cells, they can stop fighting with one another. And yes, it's been the general consensus is that it won't cure it. Emphatically, I believe that's not. I believe differently. I think after a period of time of taking it, it will subside and it will quiet down and it will cure itself.
Well, yes.
That's what I believe in my heart. I think so. But the general population probably don't believe that. But
yes,
I do. I think so.
Yeah. I think so too. I think we'll get more data in the future, regarding that.
Yeah.
Because
I think, sometimes I think that if they had found this plant out in the middle of the Amazon desert somewhere or somewhere else and found it out for what it's available to do, it would have been hailed as being the miracle plant of the century. Right. And because it's had all its bad vices and bad comments about it throughout history, look where it's ended up. Something that's been so beneficial and then never used. It's a sad story.
Right.
I'm glad we're learning about it now.
Well, yeah, that's the whole point, is to get the true information out there to everyone so that they do know and they're well informed and educated on the subject. And yeah, it is a misfortunate that, something like this got a sort of tag put on it and now frowned upon. But I really believe people are coming more and more and more into the education over the past 18 years.
Oh, absolutely.
Incredible awakening and open-mindedness and new learning and new education. So, I do think more and more people, especially as much as we can get the word out, more people are going to understand. So now my other question, back to this, it was called the rhodella plant?
The rhodellus?
Rhodellus.
The rhodellus. It's like I told you, it stands for an auto-flowering plant, a plant that auto-flowers. And if anybody doesn't understand what autoflower is, because it's kind of a term that's not used that often, but the plant is actually has its own time clock in it, so to speak. And as it reaches its time to go into this flowering mode, it will do it regardless of what the light apparatuses are showing it. It's an autoflower plant, and if it goes in, if you don't know it's a rhodellus and you keep it on, you might have hermaphrodites for plants after a while. So Rhodellus, even though it's not used, it just refers to an autoflowering plant.
I see. I understand. So they're extracting high CBDs from this plant as well?
Well, no, strictly the hemp. Strictly hemp only.
Got it. Okay.
Your CBD, but in fact, whenever you talk of CBD, I'm going to be real honest with the listening audience. Recently, the FDA has put some kind of a Schedule 1 definition according to the CBD content being made commercialized. And anybody that be dealing in that with CBD oil might and could possibly face criminal charges. So, in lieu of that, you might say, well, hemp's been in the United States for a long time with different types of products. Yes, it has. If you look carefully at the labeling, it's in the labeling. If you use hemp oil and it's not extracted from the seeds as it normally would be, then it refers to the oils being extracted from the hemp and parts of the plant as being essentials. Those essentials being labeled as CBD, anything with the labeling of CBD is going to be found in violation of that FDA mandate, I guess.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
So in the labeling, it has to say essential?
Yeah, so the labeling and such has got to say that it's CBD oil. I mean, they can't say CBD oil, so in lieu of that, you'd say it's a supplemental oil. And with that terminology, it's not illegal.
Interesting.
Yes, I know.
Interesting. Even though it's the same product.
Yeah, even though it's the same product, it's a labeling situation, and if it's labeled as a supplement, it's allowed. If it's labeled as CBD, it's not. At least that's what I've been passed down as information so far as looking in this industry myself. Right.
Well, I think you probably know that I can't say it on air, but there's this new company that's really pushing the CBD product.
Oh, sure there is. Yeah, certainly. And they're doing relatively well with it. And I don't know how they would be classified as being illegal because hemp is illegal in the United States of America as of this year. And all its products and everything else. Now, the licensing as growing is concerned has been labeled to 9 different states.
Huh.
So 9 states in the union have been okayed to grow, been authorized, I should say, to be able to grow hemp. Now, whether or not our agriculture departments in each of the states that have been mentioned have got their acts together doing it, I don't know. I just read recently that Kentucky is allowing hemp to be grown for the first time.
Yeah, do we grow it here are we allowed to in California?
Yes, in California, yes, California is one of the states.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I have not yet contacted our local facility, our agricultural in the county to see whether or not we could do it, because I have some property that I'd like to grow it on. Be nice.
Oh, I see. So, because you're in California as well.
Yes, certainly.
But you're not. But you're not certain in your area if it's legal to go.
No, I haven't really made contact. Not until a lot of the legalization and stuff like this is really rectified. We were just standing by watching like everybody else does to see what movement happens. Right.
Mm-hmm. I didn't even know that. I didn't know in most states I thought hemp was legal to grow anywhere you wanted to.
Oh, no, it was made legal here in the States this year, but 9 states were named. I know California is one of them, but forgive me, I don't know the other ones.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
Right. And so I feel like I'm still not getting, this is great that I'm interviewing you because I'm the slow learner. So perhaps other people, I'm still a little confused on what is the difference between cannabis oil and pure CBD oil.
Well, the difference between the two, Cynthia, is simply that one contains THC and the other one doesn't.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Cannabis oil does contain THC.
Yes, it does. Yeah, it's actually when you say cannabis, you're talking about marijuana plant. The marijuana plant produces high quality, high volume of THC, very low CBD. On the other hand, when you're talking about hemp, you're talking about rich CBD producing plants and very low THC.
Right. Let's see here. And then going back to what you had said in the beginning, like there was a parent plant, and then the 2 sisters was hemp and marijuana. What was that parent plant?
The parent plant's cannabis.
Got it.
Yeah, cannabis produces the 2 sisters. She produced the cannabis plant, it produces hemp, and the cannabis plant also produced your marijuana.
Right. And marijuana having low CBDs, high THC.
Correct.
Okay, got it now.
You got it, dear. Yeah.
Well, for those of us who are unfamiliar and really...
Sure.
Yeah,
it's a learning process for me, too.
Yeah.
You know? it's a learning process, and the information that you're sharing is invaluable to those listening.
Absolutely.
You know, and just let me take a moment to say something.
Please.
You guys that are listening to this woman speak about the things that she believes in what she's saying, the passion in her voice is very obvious, and she's doing everybody a great service by putting herself out there and extending these types of interviews to people such as myself that can give information that you people can count on. And kudos to you, Cynthia Brooks.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Well, yeah, you know.
I'm sure your listeners are very appreciative of the fact that you're taking a stand and stepping out. That's great. That's excellent.
You.
And Ian as well. He's a super dude. And you know me, I follow the MMA quite closely. And man, I can't wait to meet this guy. I've never met him yet, but I've talked to him on the phone. Super personality, Mr. Bubbly. I need to meet this guy. I need to rub shoulders with him, boy.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, he's a hoot and a holler.
And you too. I'm going to make a trip down south and visit both of you guys.
Oh, fabulous.
You're like 450 miles away from me, so you're not that far.
Yeah, not at all. You must. That would be well. Ian also, I just want to pump his little thing. He's planning this event so far in August, and another whole different thought on diagnosis. And I'm not familiar with this, so I'm going to brutalize it. But in mid-August, there's going to be a big function down here where now this gentleman, what he's doing is like he's created some kind of a machine, and you put your palm on it, and it starts reading like everything that's going on in your body. It's fascinating. Very interesting. I know. Well, you know, back in the old days with me, what I did was I got so lucky, and the universe was just delivering to me everybody that I needed. And a lot of people are familiar with this now. I was not, but he was a live and dead cell blood analyst, and he's a wonderful man as well. And he was down in San Diego at that time, so I went down to see them, and he rigged up this microscope that he could plug into his television. Now, remember, this is 1996, and plug it into the television so that you could see what was going on with your own live blood cells, and you know, you could see them moving around or not moving, and he put a book in your lap so you could educate yourself on what the blood cells and the white blood cells were supposed to be doing, not doing, blah blah blah. And he actually introduced me to those supplements that, you know, if you want to, I can talk about it on Facebook. But you know, I actually, you know, he pricked my finger and he would say, "Now see that there? That's a white blood cell, and it's just barely moving. It's not doing what it's supposed to do." He said, "Cynthia, I can look at your blood right now and tell you you're extremely ill. Sorry to tell you."
My God! Thanks for pump up, right?
But he was so positive. He's like, "We can handle this. We can take care of this." And so then I took these antioxidants and waited 10 minutes and pricked my finger again, and now my white blood cells starting to move around, getting some energy. So, you know, I'm a big proponent of the right kind of antioxidants.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I like putting out this information because, like, as you all can see, and this is great how I'm just stumbling through, you know what I mean, the cannabis and you know, that's part of it is that. And now, especially, alternative medicine has become an explosive industry, and there's a lot of products out there that, you know, they're mimicking and they're not great, and there's a lot of different ways, you know, for all my cancer patients out there, there's so many different ways that you can heal yourself, you know, which is great, because in my book I state, like, no system, I call the body a system, no system is the same. And if you think it is, then look at I always remind everyone, look at your hands.
Exactly.
There's not another one like you, so
no, that's right.
I'm going to respond a little bit differently to something that Howard takes, you know.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it's really about treating yourself.
Being able to know your body well enough, Cynthia.
Exactly, and you will.
What you're doing with it, you know.
Yeah,
I've learned that the hard way too. I share your and Aaron's story. I'm going to just be honest. I was 229 pounds. Okay, I had a real high cholesterol count, and my doctor said to me, if we don't bring your weight down, if you don't stop your eating bad food, you're gonna die just like my whole family was dead before they were 60 years old. My father, everybody, all my family died of heart attacks.
Oh, my.
Everybody in the family. And so I went to the doctor. He checked me out. He says, "My God," he says, "you're 4 times higher risk than normal." And I said, "So what are you saying to me?" He says, "Well, I'll tell you, Howard. If 10 people are in the room, your age, there'd only be 1 guy worse off than you." And I went, "Holy crap!" So I went on this big, huge difference in eating, and I tell you, I changed everything.
Right.
I'm down to 155 pounds now.
Awesome.
My cholesterol is at 73.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I have never looked this good, felt this good, or been this good ever. And I owe this. Now I'll tell you something else. Even though all this being good, I still was getting chest pains here and there, here and there, here and there. A friend of mine, I'll give a call out to him out there in Colorado, told him about CBD oil 6 months ago because I really didn't pay too much attention to what was going on in the industry and myself as far as CBD was concerned because really nobody had any insight.
Wow.
And so what we did is I started taking CBD oil, and guess what? I haven't suffered from any kind of a heart pain since I've started taking it.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, honest to God truth. And my wife will tell you, he hasn't taken anything else. And believe me, I went to the doctor the other day, and he says, "Oh, your pulse is at 50."
Wow.
I said, "Well, is that good?" He goes, "It's good if you're in good shape." He goes, "So my treadmills, I blew through them. I just, they're not even nothing. Doctor took almost a half an hour to get my heart up to where it should be, and it only took 30 seconds to come down."
Fantastic.
Yeah, so he's pretty excited about that, and so was I. The thing about it is that CBD oil has helped me personally in my life, as well as giving me back some of the things that I didn't have before, joint pain that I had before. This wart on my nose, when it was gone, I almost fell down. I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't do it. I took a shower, got down in the shower, and said, "Where's that black wart?"
Wow.
And it was gone.
Wow.
4 days later, after directly putting CBD on it and nothing else, just CBD only, and it was gone. And this was the paste that I was using at the time. I hadn't even refined it yet.
Wow. Wow. Well, we've had other shows, too, and if anyone's interested, about a specific administration to skin cancer and the administration, it's very specific to do it right to growths on the outside of the body with the CBD oil and whatnot, and I'm sure you may know about that, too. We've done a number of shows on how to treat that on the body when there's a growth, like popping out. We have one person with a growth popping out on the side. And I want to say that with growths, even with specifically breast cancer, we've done so many shows about breast cancer and why not to get biopsies, and we can share that with you anytime you want to know. And a lot of that is up. Those shows are up on YouTube, and I can provide the link for that. But because all of these, in layman's terms, these growths, either outside of the body or lumps in the breast, they have roots in layman's terms. So when they go in there to biopsy or they go in there to remove a lump, they're not really getting to the roots, and that's why you have the reoccurrence. One of the reasons, and it continues to spread. And for some reason, using the CBD oils. Now, this is just my rough understanding, but for whatever reason, the CBDs in layman terms, again, you keep applying that, and it also gets into the roots and destroys those roots, the cancer roots altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm thinking about the exact same thing with, the little wart on your face.
Absolutely.
And also, I was curious about CBD for children with seizures. So I'm familiar with seizures. I was self-taught only because I had the cutest little Chihuahua. I adopted him, and cutest little Chihuahua ever. But I didn't know this. He was having petit mal seizures. Now, as he grew older, and bear in mind, everybody, I started giving my animals the same supplements that I took when I had cancer, because I was like, wow, it works for me. And I had a great vet. She was both Eastern, Western, and she also was did acupuncture on animals, and which is getting more and more popular. I'm so happy about that as well. But she looked at them and she's like, yeah, they're fine. Give them, smaller doses, of course. So my little Chihuahua did live to be 22 years old.
Holy cow!
And with health challenges, because as he was getting older into 18 and 19, then he started having grand mal seizures, and I don't wish that on anyone.
No.
But my understanding about the seizures is like the electricity in the brain is misfiring back and forth. So it seems to me now that the CBD oils, again, just like autoimmune system disease, am I right? It just calms those...
It calms the receptors, and it calms it down, and that's what makes it so nice, is that they inhibit these cells that are causing the problem.
Right.
It's just attacking one another, and it's just calming them down. And over the calming them down, and the more CBD you use, the calmer they become, and they return back to normal. That's why I believe that in the multiple sclerosis cases, Cynthia, when you see something firsthand in front of your eyes, it's pretty hard not to tell people about it, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's terribly tough, because I can sit and talk about things that I not have seen. They're not important to me anymore. The things that I've actually witnessed,
yes.
Oh, man, these words can't put enough fire into the way they sound, because of the evidence of what I've seen.
Absolutely. Yeah, especially when somebody's suffering and, it kills you, and then you see them, that's what this is all about, and then the suffering is being taken away. It's just like, I well up with tears of joy every time.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, this is why we are who we are and why we're doing what we're doing.
Absolutely, and this is why we have each other. This is the beauty. It's called co-creation at its best.
Yeah, and this is the finest networking you're ever going to find right here.
Thank you.
Sharing and providing a service that, we don't have to do this, do we? We've got lots of things on a Saturday afternoon we could be doing.
Right, yeah.
But the thing about it is that this is really in our heart. This is a passion, people. This is what we love to do. This program is bringing about information to all of you that are listening so that it can do something for you in your life. CBD oil is a real thing. It really works, and these are real testimonies you're hearing it from me, but also from Cynthia. We're doing what we're doing because of the passion. It is compassion that we do this for, and and that's really where I want to. This is really where I want to see. It's the compassion of why we do this, isn't it, Cynthia?
Yes. Yeah.
We love the people. We love the audience, and we love the information that we're able to share. And that's what it's about for us.
Yeah, and it's really about learning more. I'll tell you one of the biggest stumbling blocks here, and it was so interesting. I was always, oddly enough, I come from, way back, my great-grandfather, like very astute and famous physician. Although it's so funny because my great-grandfather, even though he was personal physician to the last Tsar of Russia, but I bet right now if he was sitting talking to me, we would be talking more about the same, like, natural things, than a Western medicine doctor right now. And the reason we put out so much information, one of the biggest learning stumbling blocks, and I saw it in Ian as he was learning the things from me and the different physicists that I introduced him to, was that, and he still has a hard time with this, is that he felt very betrayed and by his government with hiding this information, and some of it is just some don't know and some deliberately hide it, and he just felt he had to go through a long process of kind of a new belief system in a sense. That all of these things are there. They always have been. They've just been suppressed a great deal. So that the more information, the easier it is for you, because that's how I changed my belief system, is more information, and started collecting as many success stories as possible about people who did heal themselves. One woman, she healed cervical cancer because she was pregnant, so they could do nothing. This was, again, back in 97. They could do nothing for her at that time without, interfering with the pregnancy, no evasive treatment, and she was just taking pure aloe vera and inserting aloe vera, and she cured herself of cervical cancer that way.
Oh, my gosh.
I know, but back to
incredible.
Yeah. So there's millions of different ways to treat yourself, and so sorting through and navigating through the information can be very overwhelming. And you take as much as you can, and then you take a deep breath, and you take a nap, or you walk away, and it's just like the same way. Understanding this alternative medicine is just like building Rome brick by brick.
Correct.
Yeah.
One brick at a time, one day at a time.
Yeah, I'm having so much fun with you, but I'm watching the time now. I want to right now, and then towards the 3 minutes before the show is over, I would like you to tell everyone how they can contact you, or websites, or any of your information, so they have it.
Oh, well, thank you. I'll be more happy to give that to you.
Okay.
All right. Would you like to do that now?
Sure. Yeah. That's
okay. I'm sorry. I didn't understand.
No. I was confused. I want to do it now, and then what happens with this show is it does seem about a minute to the hour the music starts. So I've learned the hard way to get it in twice.
I got you. I hear you. Okay, they can contact me. My contact information is hwendell.358@gmail.com. Or they can reach me. They can reach me on area code 209-743-2188.
And for people who are writing, can you repeat that one more time, both of them?
Sure. If you're writing, the email is hwendell, WENDEL, so you'll know how to spell Wendell, dot, or period, 358, the numbers, at gmail.com. If you care to contact me via any other way, I have a post office box, Cynthia. Can I give them that?
Absolutely. Okay.
You can contact me at P.O. Box 1106 in Groveland, that's spelled Groveland, California, and the zip code is 95321. Again, P.O. Box 1106, Groveland, California, 95321.
And you're also on Facebook.
Absolutely. I'm also on Facebook under Howard Wendell.
Right, and people can contact you there as well.
Most definitely. I welcome any and all comments, yes.
Yeah, it's so interesting, all the different forms of communication out there.
Isn't it? I was talking to my kids just the other day about this, and I said, you realize I couldn't reach you guys, and yet you got 16 different types of ways to get in contact, and I can't reach you. What's up?
Exactly.
I think you guys put your phones away when Dad's trying to call. But,
exactly.
It is. We're in the age of electronics, and
for sure.
I feel like I'm way behind the times when I get on some of these electronic items,
you and me both.
Oh, yeah. I'm all fingers and thumbs, and I'm sending messages, and I don't know if it's okay to say things on the air like I would, but this autocorrect on our phone sometimes real embarrassing, boy.
Yeah.
I've written stuff to women and asked them and wrote the word, and it's come out in some other way, and I thought, oh my God, what they must think of me.
Exactly.
It's just an autocorrect problem, and it's nothing to be taken personal. I
think this autocorrect needs an autocorrect, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, really, and whoever put Cyrus on my phone needs to remove her.
Exactly.
Well, you want to get yourself frustrated and high blood pressure, man. You just get on that phone and start talking to Cyrus, man.
There you go.
It's serious. They don't even know her name. Yeah. Oh, it's Cynthia. How things are, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. In these last, it's 2:52 right now. So, do you have any last thing that you really?
Well, there's just some things that I want to caution the individual people that are listening and reference to CBD, and some of the things that I've learned over the past 6 months, and I take it to heart, and I want to share it with you, is that CBD shouldn't be heated. Number one.
Okay.
You keep it in a cool, dark environment, and personally, I refrigerate mine. That being the first thing. The second thing is that CBD oil, many of us believe in it, and there's a skeptic, so I want you to understand that I personally was a skeptic. I come from a background where they taught me not to believe in what I thought was real. It was I won't go into the profession I was in, but we were brainwashed. We didn't know things that we know today, and anybody out there that's looking for information, hey, I did research and I did some investigating, and I found out exactly what I was able to tell you people today simply because I did a little bit of research.
Right.
And that research, knowledge is power. And that power, when someone says something and you know the truth, you know where you stand.
Right.
And that's real important today because there's a lot of people out there misrepresenting things. You need to know the truth. You need to know. And the things that I spoke to you about today are all everything that I spoke about to you in reference to CBD is all referenced. Anything that you need clarity on in reference to what I spoke about, please contact me, and I'll be more than happy to supply you any reference material that I've obtained to gather all this information together.
super, super. And for everyone that's listening, our incredible producer, Vincent, is posting right now your information on Facebook. So, it's there as well. You can also go, there's a lot of information on Facebook at the radio station, which is ucy.tv. There's a lot of information always being posted there as well. And I just know that, the research is important because really all you're doing is listening to one person's opinion.
Sure.
So, you want to jump all over the map and gather all the different, which I'm sure you did already, so that's why your information is so valuable. It seems
the information that we gather up, you got to be sure that the sources in which you gather your information for are viable and trustworthy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of misinformation on the Internet, and look at your local libraries, and if you have some real doubt about what you're reading, and verify it. I mean, thank God there's a second source to go to.
Yeah.
When something's being said over electronics, you can go and verify it in paperback and see whether or not it's actually factual.
Right.
But, diligent research is very valuable and powerful if you just know how to go about it, and do it the proper way. And I'm sure our listening audience is quite capable of researching.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
I
know, when I was researching myself for cancer and treating myself, I learned a really important thing about research. As I'm reading one person's paper, I ask yourself, okay, who's writing this and what is their intent?
That's right. Always look and see if there's a reference because most people express opinions.
Yes.
My son and I were talking just the other day. I just shared quickly, and he said, "Oh, it's the best hamburger I've ever eaten. It's got to be the world's best hamburger." I said, that's not necessarily true. That's your opinion. And that's what's wrong with the world. A lot of people listen to opinions, and they don't really know the facts. So due diligence, get the right source of information, and be sure that you know what's right and wrong so that you can defend yourself about what you do believe and know. And that's the best way to arm yourself, Cynthia, with education.
Well, absolutely. The greatest weapon is education, definitely.
Yeah.
But I would always recommend listening to people who had a personal experience.
Oh, absolutely. Invaluable.
Yeah, like what you experienced with the CPD.
Sure.
Like what I experienced, going through putting myself on my program. What I physically experienced, I also used a rice machine,
right.
and the personal experience, it's so funny because I talk about those doctors that I did use Western medicine for tests, definitely. But when I told one, and he was, Harvard grad, Rhodes Scholar.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, and when I told him what I was doing and whatnot, and actually, I've said this on many shows, well, he started kind of almost challenging me, then started arguing with me. Now, he himself has never had cancer. And when I told him finally, he got very angry, and he actually said to me, he said, "Did you go to Harvard or did I?"
Oh, yeah, I know. But I totally understand, Cynthia.
Well, that was good, though. I saw that as a good thing because, again, back to the personal experience. I mean, the great ones tell us there really is no teacher. Human teachers stimulate thought. There's only one teacher, and that's life experience. That's the great teacher. So I'm just saying, go to the people who have had the results, have been through it, and see what their results were. That's what I was doing instead of listening to doctors. I started, well, what did you do for your cancer, and what did you do for your, wart on your face, or what did you do? That's the point I'm trying to make. Is that's a really
no, that's right.
Word. Yeah,
true.
Yeah, definitely. Right. Well, we're at 2:57. Also, if you want to contact me, I've got a lot of Facebook pages.
Absolutely, do.
I know I do. You can contact me through Facebook, Cynthia Brooks Official. .com, of course, on Facebook, or House of Healing, which I'm still trying to get all my almost 5,000 over to the House of Healing.
Oh, wow.
I know. So everybody can get over there. That's Cynthia Brooks, House of Healing. You can type it in either way, House of Healing, Cynthia Brooks. And also I have Cynthia Brooks Valara page. And you can also, if you go over to Ian's iCureCancer.com, which is a wealth of information.
Oh, yeah.
You can contact Ian, through Ian if you want to contact me as well. And then one more time, Howard, let's give your information. One last time.
It's Howard Wendell, and my email is either lowercase or uppercase, doesn't matter, it's not sensitive, hwendell.358, the numbers, @gmail.com.
And there's the music. Howard, thank you so much. I want to have
Cynthia,
you on again.
thank you. Kudos to you, and thank you for the listening audience. I appreciate the time.
Thank you all for tuning in and listening. Thank you so much, and thank you, Vinny, for being such a star today and get me out of trouble. Thank you all.
Thanks, Cynthia.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
The simple things in everything you do. I believe in the heavens above, and I believe in truth. I believe in the love we have, because I believe in you.